Hello and welcome. If you spend any time at all with AI image tools, you know that incredible feeling of creating one single perfect visual. But let's be honest, the real challenge isn't just making one great image. It's about building a consistent visual identity, something people see and instantly recognize. So how do we actually get from those cool one-offs to a brand that people remember?
We've all been there, right? You type a few words into a prompt and bam, you get back this stunning, absolutely beautiful image. The technology is just so powerful, and the results can be genuinely breathtaking. It really feels like you have this world-class creative team right at your fingertips.
But here's the question we have to ask ourselves. When you take a step back and look at all those visuals you've made, do they tell a single coherent story? Or do they feel kind of random, like they could belong to just about anyone? That right there, that's the difference between just playing with a tool and actually building a real brand.
And this really gets to the heart of a problem. On one side, you've got these amazing but totally disconnected visuals, and on the other, you have a whole body of work that feels cohesive, it feels intentional, and it feels unmistakably yours. Making that leap from left to right, that is the secret to unlocking the true power of this technology for your brand.
Now, the solution isn't some super complex new tool or finding that one magic prompt. It's much simpler. It's a system, a straightforward, disciplined approach that lets you produce consistent, on-brand content really quickly every single time. And it's all built on 3 core components.
So first up is what we call the brand specification block. The easiest way to think about this is like a visual recipe for your brand. It defines everything, your color palette, the aesthetic, the mood, all in plain language that the AI can easily understand. The best part? You write it once, you save it, and then you just paste that little block into every single visual prompt you create. It's the foundation for everything that follows.
Okay, next is your style anchor. This is basically a small, curated library, maybe 8 to 12 images that perfectly represent your brand's ideal look. So, by including one of these images with your prompt, you're not starting from the AI's generic, average idea of cool. You're actually calibrating it to your specific taste. Honestly, this one step alone solves so many consistency problems.
And the final piece of this puzzle is a set of reusable prompts. These are just simple, brief templates for the kinds of content you find yourself making all the time. Like a social media post or a cover for a presentation. Instead of starting from scratch every time, you just grab your template, fill in the unique details, and you're good to go. It saves an enormous amount of time and mental energy. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, when you put these 3 components together, the recipe, the anchor, and the templates, you stop just making single images. You start producing entire campaigns and content bundles with incredible speed and, most importantly, consistency.
Here's a pretty typical workflow if you were creating, say, a social media bundle. First, you'd define your core content themes for the month. Then you'd build a simple prompt template for each one. From there, you can generate all of your visuals in one single session. And then, and this is the crucial last step, you look at them all together as a set to make sure they feel like a coherent family of images.
And what does a workflow like that actually produce? Well, something like this. 12 perfectly on-brand images. That could literally be an entire month's worth of visual content for all your social channels. All of it created with intention and consistency. And all of it done in just one afternoon. That right there is the power of having a system.
Ultimately, what we're talking about here is a fundamental shift in how we approach this work. It's about moving from being just an operator of a cool tool to becoming the creative director of a brand.
And that really is the key difference. When you just use the tool, you kind of get whatever it decides to give you. But when you build a system around it, you are directing it to create assets that strategically build your brand's identity over time. You are fully in control of the visual narrative.
And that brings us to one final thought. Building your own system starts with a single, pretty simple action. So as you go from here, just ask yourself this. What 5 words truly define my brand's visual recipe? Answering that one question, well, that's the first real step toward building a brand that AI doesn't just generate, but truly amplifies.